folks. It is dark. It's dark. I got here to the yard around 4 a.m. I had to do some welding on a truck before it went out for the day. So I took care of that, and then I had time to do a quick cut test with the Reeve Umnumzaan. This is pretty sweet, man. First time I've ever handled one. This is only the second Reeve I've ever handled. The first being my Sebenza, which I just traded away. This is pretty cool, man. It's just a little bigger than the Sebenza Large. A couple differences. We have the thumb studs, which also double as the external stops, which I think is always cool. I always like that. It's kind of cool to see that on the outside. I like it. Nice click. We have an over travel stop disc right there, kind of like how Hinderer does it. Hinderer calls it a lock bar stabilizer, but it's pretty much just an over travel stop right there. The clip seems to be the same as on the Sebenza. The lock bar has this little like lip kind of thing on it to kind of help you push it over, but it is still quite uncomfortable to push that lock bar over. It's stiff, very stiff, and this little lip right here just kind of digs into your thumb. Not very comfortable at all. If you were just doing it once or twice a day, fine. If you were opening and closing this knife a lot, it would become a problem for sure. Ergonomically, it's okay. We'll talk more about that during the cutting. We have a hollow grind right here, and then a very, very thick behind the edge Tanto edge up at the front, which is, great for what a Tanto needs to be. Very robust tip for piercing, prying, light prying probably. We got a pretty decently good sharpening choil, and that's it. Sebenza action, hydraulically smooth. You got a glass breaker poking out the top right there. It's actually part of the tang, which disappears when you open it. If there's going to be a glass breaker on a knife, this is the way that I would like it. It's not very noticeable, but it's there if you need it. And when you open the knife, it's gone. So that's kind of cool, actually. I kind of dig that. So anyways, let's go see how she cuts. Okie dokie, here's the cup. Okie dokie, here's the clip in the pocket. The clip works nicely. Goes in and out of the pocket well. Even thick seams like the Carhartts that I'm wearing. Works fine. This is definitely a heavy-duty work knife. Let's see how sharp it is. It is the factory edge, but it's been used. I gave it a nice stropping before the test here. Nice and sharp. Trying to get my light situated here. Alrighty, let's start with double thickness cardboard, or double walled, I guess. It's the thick stuff. Right away, I'm pretty surprised at how easily it's passing through the cardboard. I don't know what I was expecting really, but it's slicing better than I thought. Yeah, definitely. It's not like crazy slicey, but for a large, heavy-duty work knife, this is excellent. Really, really nice. And you've got a lot of relatively straight edge. There's a little belly, but you're going to be hard-pressed to slip out of your cut. This is great cardboard breaking down blade shape. Now, utility cutting probably will be the weakest attribute of this knife because it's a Tanto. Most Tantos are just not good for utility cutting because they have a tip that's way high up there. Sometimes you can use the secondary tip right there. We will see if that is the case. Also, it's real thick behind the edge on this one in particular, on this Tonto in particular. It's almost, you know, a chisel grind up there. No, not a chisel, just a real fat behind the edge Tonto, if you know what I mean. So I tried a few raised all the way up to the primary tip, and that didn't work well at all. And then I went down to the secondary kind of tip there, and it actually was working surprisingly well. This is the thick cardboard. I think if I was on a regular thickness cardboard, it would, you know, be working even better, obviously. But that was kind of surprising. It was actually kind of doing it. So that's cool. That's nice. Alrighty, what's next? I believe leather. Leather. Alright. A little bit of sawing to get through it, but not too bad. I think for the blade shape here, that was pretty good. Rubber tubing. This is pretty nice. You can kind of start on that secondary tip where the Tonto area of the blade begins and kind of rock back from there. And it works pretty well. Let's try it on the huge rubber tubing. This will be more difficult. And yeah, it didn't do great with this. You know, unless the knife is real thin with real thin blade stock, it's pretty difficult for it to pass through this huge rubber tubing. So, not the best on that one, but that's to be expected. Cecil rope. Same thing with the small rubber tubing, kind of starting almost on the Tonto portion of the edge and then rocking back from there, and it did not bad, not too bad. Now I'm just using the straight portion of the blade, and it's decent. I'll say it's decent with the Cecil rope here. Not amazing, not bad. Zip ties, baby. This is now a part of the cut test, except this time and from now on, we're going to be using these heavy-duty zip ties. The white ones I was using before were a little too easy. These are tough. These are tough to get through. And it should be harder on the edges. Ooh, yeah, pretty good amount of strength needed to pop those. So that's a good test. Gripping the knife pretty darn hard while popping the zip ties. I did notice a few hot spots. It's not really one in particular. It's kind of just the whole knife is not super comfortable. I feel a lot of hard right angles, you know, in the handle. They are slightly rounded, the edges on the handle, but it feels a little blocky, and it kind of just feels like you're hanging on to a rectangle, a block of titanium, if that makes sense. So it's not super uncomfortable, but when you grip it real hard, there is definite hot spots. So let's try the 2-inch heavy-duty ratchet strap. Not shabby. Not shabby. 3/4 of the way through. Just about. Let's do one more. This is another good test of ergos because I'm gripping the knife very hard, trying to get through the ratchet strap. About the same 3/4 of the way. And yeah, I'm just noticing the same thing. It's just not super comfortable, and I do actually feel the clip poking me just a bit, which wasn't a thing on the Sebenza as far as I remember, so not sure why. It is the same clip, I believe. But just something about the knife, it just... okay, here we go. For how big it is, it doesn't fill out your hand super well. It's relatively thin handle, and I think that's what it is. I think that's what I'm feeling. For it being such a big knife, I wish there was just more handle there, and I wish that the edges were rounded a bit more. But that's really only noticeable if you're really gripping the knife, pushing through material. So we were still cutting paper after the testing, but it's definitely dulled a little. So let's strap it up and see if we can get it just as nicely cutting the paper as we were before. Should not be an issue. Okie dokie. Back to the Pepal. Nice and slicey. Or sharp, I mean. Yeah, real nice and sharp. Sweet. Straps back very well. So, there you go. Definitely a great hard-use work knife, especially the Tanto version here. You have a really sturdy tip for piercing, light prying. But you still have a nice slicey hollow grind to work with as well. The external stop pins are going to add to the stability of the knife, the security of the lockup. If you do need to do a little bit of prying, that's also going to help with side-to-side play, movement, stability. It's cool, man. You know, it's just it's a big, heavy-duty work knife, and it's got that Sebenza action. And despite it having a few little issues here and there, I think it's pretty badass. Would I buy one? No, not for me personally, but you know, it did pretty well. So there you go. Please like the video before you head out. I would appreciate it very much, and I will see you soon.